Hi, everyone. This is actually my first time doing a presentation like this, so if I, stand here checking my notes, please bear with me. My name is Chi, and I originally started my career back in 2009, being employee number 1 in FunPlus and leading the production of free-to-play casual titles like Family Farms, and also help building their global live ops production operation across studio production. Back then, I actually used to be the only female on the team. So actually, I feel, I understand how that feels. And I never made games before that. So, which means that I had to learn game production, operation, and basically everything from trials and errors. So I chose to stay very close with the players community, since that's the only way that can help us better understand what the players want. And we had more than 100 million monthly active users, and most of them are female casual players. We ended up building a very close community for each game we produce. And by doing that, I not only learn how to produce the content and improve the content for that type of audience, but also I learned how to build strong relationships with our players and how to scale games leveraging on the power of community. In the beginning of 2018, I decided to leave FunPlus, and I spent 1 year in school, and then right now we're working on our own gaming studio, producing games for a female audience. So today, I want to talk about why we need to bring more female developers to the industry. And for those who are interested, I will later also share a little bit my thought about how to get into the industry. So first of all, why is this even important, right? And there are 3 billion people who play video games in the world, and the female players ratio is about 40 to 50%. In many countries, including US, Canada. On the other side, approximately 20%, 20 to 25% gaming professionals are females. You may think this is not too bad, right? But if we look at the game production side, actually for female developers, the people who actually make games, that number, the percentage drop even more. And last year, I think from a posting by Invest Game, the numbers show that less than 5% of gaming company founders are females, which are pretty surprising. So what does this number all mean? And this means for the majority of game developers, they are at least 40% of their audience that they are not familiar with, right? And for mobile free-to-play, that's actually even worse because over 70% female casual mobile players are females. And this means many developers don't actually understand most of their target audience. And you may ask, so what? We have been making games like this all the time, and this is not a problem. But the truth is, it is right now if we keep doing the same thing as before, and here's why. So, yes, we probably have been making games without a good understanding of female players in the past, but in the past, there were not as many female gamers as today. And for markets like US, you see the number change. For China, that the change is even greater. And so the game gender ratio has been changed greatly in the past 20 years. And on the player side, the problem is the lack of variety of content it's been a great issue for female players. And let's just use free-to-play casual game market as an example. In the past, there were basically two ways to make games on mobile. Number one, the typical way is, people build a game, they actually have no idea who will play the game. But when they launch the game, they use paid user acquisition, right, to acquire players' information. And by looking at that, they iterate their product. And they make a better game based on what they know about the players. But that was not an issue before, but everyone knows after the new privacy policy in 2021, nobody can do that anymore right now. And another way to make games for mobile free-to-play is that people seems to aim to make a game based on what is popular on the market right now, right? And that's not an issue as well, but it is an issue if all the new games coming out are trying to do the very same thing. And the players will end up seeing the same gameplay, the same content, even very similar art styles. And at the end, you can imagine nobody stand out. Players are actually tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. And how do I know? First of all, I'm a casual player myself as well, and I share the same experience, the same frustration. But also, I learned those information from talking to players for the past 14 years. And I used to reply messages, emails, 50 to about 200 emails every single day when I helped FunPlus to build their localization live ops team. And even today, I still talk to players every single day. So for our new games, we talk to over 500 players. And a college student told me that she tried to find a new game to play during the pandemic when she was under quarantine, but she cannot. She had to go back to play a game from 10 years ago. And that's basically how bad the situation is. So female players, they do want to enjoy a variety of content, and they want new and fun gameplay. They want new art styles. They want, new characters and stories. Surprise! But unfortunately, the lack of variety for female players has been a status quo for many years already. And this means you can almost see very similar gameplay, art styles, content. If you open any free-to-play casual games on the market right now with ads, by looking at the ads, if you cover the names of those games, they almost look identical, many of them. And this is the player's face you will see. Like really, really bored. And female players need a variety of game content, which we don't have right now, unfortunately. Game, from another perspective, game is a to-consumer product, right? And for having product market fit for any to-consumer product is important, meaning we need to know what we are building is something customers actually want. Right? It seems most people agree that, one of the best ways for anyone to build a product that people want is when that person is the target audience, right? So I think it's fair to ask game developers as well, who is your target audience? And how do you know what you are building is something they want? If we look at other content creation industries, for example, like books, there are more than 50% fiction writers in the US are females, where more than 70% readers are females, which seems a more healthy, ecosystem. So overall, my point is we have to make an adjustment on how we make games, and it's critical that game designers today at least should have some degree of understanding of their players. on the market side, I think there's a huge imbalance between the supply and the demand right now. So this is a great business opportunity if you think about it, right? Imagine if we can actually make the gap smaller, if we can create something that females likes or prefer. We can maybe attract people who actually haven't played any of the games on the market right now into the gaming world, and we can make the whole pie bigger, right? So this is why we should definitely have more female developers in the industry. And at last, I want to talk a little about, how to get into the gaming for those people who are interested. I think there are probably 3 things you can learn. Number one is definitely to have the skills. Many people will say, oh, I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to code. I cannot make a game. But the thing is, you don't need to be a coder to work on games. Without, coding, you can actually still be a great artist. You can be a great producer and game designer as well. And the second of all, understand how games are made, understand how the production process is very important. With that understanding, you can probably start from making small games yourself, right? Joining a team who make games, and then learn how the process looks like. And of course, understand players is really, really important in my mind. I think you can do that by talk to players, but not only talking to players, because probably people working in product design will understand this already. Sometimes people say something that this is what I want, but they don't. You need to not only understand what they say, but you need to understand what they actually mean by saying that. So I think maybe if you can build a game, or if you can help other games to improve, by talking to players, by building a strong relationship with players, that definitely will help you to understand players better than before. So yeah, I think, along the way, by practicing those, you can learn something new every single day, and hopefully you can be better at it. At last, I want to encourage more female developers to join the industry. And I think right now is definitely one of the best times to join the industry. Hopefully you can come to make the best games and enjoy the journey. Thank you.